open concept one-story plans right here in Georgetown, Texas.
Therapy for me. Hey, hey. Yeah, yeah. Hey, hey. Yeah, yeah.
Should you build in Georgetown, Texas, or should you build closer in an area like Leander, Texas? That's what we're going to be exploring in this video, where I'm touring this model home built by Chesmar, located in a new community called Nolina that's deep into Georgetown, Texas. Now, later on in the video, I'm going to tour you another one-story plan, but that's going to be a home for sale in Leander, Texas. And I found out about that home because a buyer canceled a contract while building that home. And I found out about it, marketed it to my clients. None of them wanted it. So I'm happy to put it up on YouTube and show everyone what's possible in these two fast-growing suburbs. Now, we're in the Barron plan, and this home is over 2,100 square feet. It has 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and again, it's built by Chesmar Homes. And this is one of the signatures of Chesmar Homes. You're actually going to see this in the inventory home for sale, but they have it back in the dining room. And that home has a little bit more square footage. It's over 2,600 square feet. It's also a one-story plan. It has that slope. Again, it's in the dining room on that plan, but it doesn't have the beam. So I'm going to be curious to know what you think about the differences between these two homes that we toured today. Now, like usual, we're going to start right here in the kitchen, and let me introduce myself. My name is Raj Sahu. I'm a realtor in Austin, Texas, and I've represented clients with 20 different builders, including Chesmar Homes. And so I'll tell you the things that my clients point out when walking through homes like this, and also tell you the pros and cons of different options that exist in the current market. And some of those options are building from scratch. So I'm going to point out some different design elements that you can do. Like, take a look at the curtains, that dark chair, and that freestanding shelf on the right side of the wall that has that dark touch that matches up really well with the cabinets that are here. And then everything else in this kitchen is very light and bright. And so see, these are some of the things that you can do if you build from scratch with these various builders in the Austin metro area like Chesmar Homes. And this is exactly what so many of my clients tell me when they walk through various homes. They see these model homes, they like some of the design touches in them, and they start incorporating these different design ideas in their own home. But it's hard to see that when they're building from scratch. I can't tell you how many times my clients have turned around at a kitchen island like this, and it's wide open in the main living area, but all they see are walls to their home that they're building. And it's hard to imagine what it would be like to live in their home. And that's why I tell them, look through model homes like this. Take a look at the pendant lights and the dark beams and that accent wall that's in the living room that just adds that great contrast so many people are looking for in their main living area. And then you add in the windows in the living room. They even added transom windows above those windows in the living room. And then you add in the tall ceilings in the living room and the common areas here. All of that comes together to make a great home. And so we're going to compare this plan, the Barron plan, with the next home, which is called the Kobi plan, which has a little bit more square footage and does have a couple more rooms that some buyers have told me they really need in their home. So I'm excited to get your perspective on that. I also want to get your perspective on this accent wall in the living room, because I think this really makes or breaks this room depending on how you feel about different designs in your main living area to break up the wall. I get a lot of my clients that say, hey, I have this big wall on the side, I'm gonna have a TV there. What would you recommend putting around that? And I usually tell them, hey, there is a virtual interior design company that I can recommend to you. There are also interior designers here in the Austin metro area that can actually go to your home, get a visual of the space, and then provide you recommendations. But what I also tell them is I have all these videos on YouTube of these various model homes. I also have a lot of videos that I keep on my Dropbox behind the scenes that I provide my client, and I make different recommendations on what they can do based on what I already see here. And that's why I have chapters in the description of this video, so you can bounce around these videos very easily. But when my clients tell me they love the tall ceilings, they love the windows, but they want to break up these walls, how do they do that? Well, this is one of those pieces that I'm going to show them. Let me know what you think about this. I think for some people, they say, hey, I'm gonna have a TV here anyway that's gonna be dark. Maybe I can put some pictures on either side. But let me know what you think about that accent wall with those different bands just going vertical, and they're all at different lengths, or most of them are at different lengths. And I think what this does is when most people come out to this main living area, entering in from the front door, their eyes go right to all the upgrades that are in the kitchen. They look left to this amazing accent wall with those different dark bands running vertically along that wall. Then their eyes go up to look at the beams and the vaulted ceilings, and it looks right out to those tall windows and the transom windows that are on the back wall in the living room looking out to the backyard. And this is when I hear people say, wow, this doesn't feel just over 2,100 square feet. It feels so much larger. And that's the game of windows, tall ceilings, and design, again, all coming together to make the space feel so grand. Now, I think that continues right here in the primary bedroom. I'm seeing this pretty much in every model home where there's an accent wall behind the bed just to provide some sort of fun design element. Notice how they did the curtains, that dark touch to kind of pull from that accent wall as well, and then the nightstands all match up with it. Even one of the pillows, these are all done by design along with this light fixture in this tray ceiling. And I think you can take these simple rooms that, once upon a time, these were just white walls with nothing else in them, and you can make it look extravagant just using these different design touches. What also helps on the exterior of the home is great topography, and you might be able to get a glimpse of that outside of these windows. Now, this is in a community called Nolina, which at the time I'm recording this video is just getting started. So there will be some homes most likely behind this model home. You may not get the view that you're seeing right now, but the reason why I bring up that view is I've toured some incredible lots that back up to greenery, that capture the beauty that's here in Georgetown, Texas. And if you're looking for a view, you want these homes with all these windows out the back wall to look out to something beautiful, stick with me, because I got so many clients right now either recently closed or under contract with amazing views off the back of their home that are either in Georgetown, Texas, some in Liberty Hill, Texas, which is a neighboring suburb, and then even Leander, Texas, which is a suburb that we're going to be exploring on the next home, which is located right off of the highway and is in a bit of a better location, but the pricing will definitely reflect that. So we can talk about that a little bit later on in the video. What I want to talk about here in the primary shower is this tile. Take a look at how minimalist this white rectangular tile is, going all the way up to the ceiling. I think for some clients, they really like that minimalist look. For some of my other clients, they say, hey, all those white walls in my shower that I'm gonna be using every day, not a fan. How can we break that up? But I still like keeping my primary bathroom very light and bright. That's how I wanna wake up and head right into the shower and feel I want to feel that brightness. What I always tell people is look into accent bands. There are great accent bands that some of my clients have done, or they've done an accent wall in the primary shower. And all that means is the far wall of the walk-in shower is a different tile. Usually it's something that contrasts the tile drastically. Like I have a couple clients that built in Liberty Hill, another one that's building in Georgetown, Texas, and they did an accent wall that was a very dark tile, and it provided this really fun touch in their primary bathroom. And I actually have both of those clients' videos on my YouTube. So if you want a reference of that, just comment below, and I'll put their videos either in the description of this video or somewhere in the comments. Now, moving on here in the primary bathroom, we have the primary closet right next door, and then they did put a door in here to get to the utility room. This has actually been something that I've had a lot of clients request, just because when they're watching this and they're somewhere on the West Coast or they're in the northern part of the United States and their laundry is in the basement, the first thing they think about when they see a utility room is lugging their dirty laundry through their house, going all the way down the steps from the second floor, down the first floor, down to the basement, and then putting their laundry in here. And what I always tell my clients is, if you hate the idea of doing that, definitely get a door that goes from your primary closet to your utility room. It will save years on your life of walking your dirty laundry throughout the house, and you just pop in there, put in your laundry, and voila. And so for some of my clients, I'm laughing when I say it because it sounds like something so small, but it's amazing over the last many years of walking these new construction homes and walking them with dozens and dozens of clients. A lot of people say it's actually a very big deal. And it's all based on their current circumstance of, again, going up and down the steps with their dirty laundry. Now, that might seem small to some people, but I gotta tell you, one of the big things that really comes up with a lot of my clients is lots. What are the lots that you prefer? Is it a certain size? Is it a certain direction? where you want the front door facing like east or north or northeast? Do you want to face west so your sun doesn't set in your backyard and roast you in the summer, right? These are some of the things that are actually a very big factor when some of my clients are looking at homes. And it's because if you can go to a backyard that's beautiful, that really resonates with why you're moving to Austin, which for a lot of people, it's spending more time outdoors. For a lot of my clients that move here from Seattle, which is actually the majority of people that reach out to me, they always tell me the idea of having a patio like this with tall ceilings that's beautiful outside, that is their dream. And Seattle is gorgeous. It's got amazing topography. No doubt it's beautiful, and the summers are amazing. But so many of my clients that move here from Seattle tell me the same thing. For 7, 8, 9 months of the year, it's cloudy and rainy, and they have this beauty outside their home, but they just can't enjoy it. And so when you come here to Austin, yes, we do have a brutal summer. If anybody tells you otherwise, I would question that person's opinion. It is tough, but for a lot of those people in the summer, they fly to Colorado or they end up flying back to Seattle to see their friends and family during the summer. But for 8, 9 months of the year, it is very nice outside. A lot of times we don't even get enough rain. Sometimes we're in a drought. But that just shows you that we get a lot of days where it's sunny and it's not rainy, and we can go outside, we can enjoy the outdoors. And I think that's why so many people are coming to Austin, other than the fact that, cost of living compared to some of these other cities, as well as cost of homes, is significantly lower. You can also get lots just like this one. I'm in one of the lots that's currently offered by Chesmar, and this is why I've continued to come out to the community of Nolina. It has great topography, it has on-site amenities, and if you're wondering what it would be like to build that model home on a lot, just look behind me. Back to the video. Okay, there's still a lot to see in this model home. I'll give you a quick look at the utility room, which is obviously accessible from this hallway, as well as the primary closet. And then there is a study upgrade that I want to show you next, because I think this is really important, especially when you're looking at future resale. One thing I wanted to cover is when I was in that lot, I'd mentioned on-site amenities already in this community called Nolina. That is very unusual. This community, like I mentioned earlier, is just getting started. I think they started selling sometime in late 2023, but really a lot of that didn't start happening until early 2024. There are 4 builders in this community, and the developer decided to build the amenity center right away without even any homeowners living in the neighborhood. And that's very rare, simply because it takes so much money up front to invest that into a amenity center like that, sometimes millions of dollars with some of these different amenity centers. And most developers do wait until they're a little bit further along in the community. They usually wait, to be frank, until a lot of the homeowners that have moved in that thought they were going to get an amenity center start complaining there's no amenity center, and then they start, making t-shirts and going to the HOA meetings and all this stuff, and they try to get that going. And sometimes developers just wait till that happens, until they get enough of fire going on to build that amenity center, but they try to hold off as much as they can. With this developer, which developed another community in Leander that we'll talk about a little bit later, that this developer just fronted the money to invest in this amenity center so that homeowners, the first homeowners that are moving into this community, already have great access to that amenity center. And when I say amenity center, what I mean is a 7-acre amenity center that has a pool, a splash pad, a park that has like a kid's playscape. They have a fitness studio. They have an event lawn. These are things that so many of my clients love seeing in their community. Even the event lawn close by has like an outdoor lounge and fire pit. It's just a space where people can go to outside of their home and hang out with people in their community. And I think community is so important. I talked about before, like the beauty that's here in Georgetown, Texas. There are nature trails that are coming up, but I would say a lot of communities have that because it's Austin. A lot of people want to go hiking and spend time outdoors. So a lot of these communities, it's like a must-have to have nature trails. But some of these other things like outdoor lounge, fire pit, event lawn, all these things that I mentioned, For most developers, that's a waste of money. They look at that land that's being taken up for amenities and they say, how many houses can we build there and how much more money can we make? And oftentimes the developers that think like that are very short-term sighted. They're very short-term profit oriented, but some of these great developers that are more long-term vision oriented, they're asking themselves, well, how can we make these communities great so we can continue to make fantastic communities? And they do amenities like that that are so great for people in the community. Now, this is also great. Now, shout out to Chesmar. Their builder agent actually uses this as their office, so they exited for us to just shoot this because I really wanted to capture this for a lot of my clients that say they work from home. They're in a very small space. A lot of them that are on the West Coast where they're in a small amount of square footage, or I even have a couple clients using like a big closet for their office, and it's very tight. And I tell them, oh, hey, take a look at this study with the accent wall in the back, some transom windows, bringing some natural light. It just feels so large. And I don't want to say it's a dream. I don't think people dream about working all day, but if you're working in like a closet, or you're working in a small space, or you feel like you're on top of each other working from home, especially when both spouses are working from home, it's so nice to have a dedicated office space. Now, the upgrade here is this would technically be a 4th bedroom, but Chesmar currently, at the time I'm recording this video, has an option to make this a study where there is an entrance out through the hallway here where you could add double doors. But if you kept that as a bedroom right of this front door, there would actually be 2 bedrooms. But instead with that study, we'll just see 1 bedroom here that's split by a full bathroom. Now, that bedroom door would make it a little bit more private. You wouldn't enter it from the hallway then. Obviously, you would face into this bathroom a little bit, so it's a little bit more private. But again, you would get a full bathroom in between both bedrooms. Now, if you don't like the idea of sacrificing a bedroom for a study, and if you feel like you want a separate play area or like a game room, stick with me. The inventory home that we're about to see that's for sale at the time I'm posting this video, that home has both. It has 4 bedrooms, it has a study, it has a game room, and again, it has a little bit more square footage to offer you some of those spaces that some people really desire to have. Now, this is also what people desire to have, just a fun accent wall that's usually affordable. And the reason why I say that is take a look at the pattern that's there in that shower or bathtub on the wall. They just put a simple tile in a herringbone pattern just to provide a fun element in there. And for a lot of my clients, when they're designing these homes from scratch, they know that they're not going to get much value at resale if they put money into a spare bathroom, but they just want to provide something fun in there. And oftentimes, if you can find an affordable tile like that and just put it in a herringbone pattern, with some builders, if it's affordable, it makes sense to do that and just put something fun in there that doesn't cost you a lot, because you don't want to put a lot of money in your spare bathroom. You want to put it into areas that will come back to you at future resale, and that's usually like your kitchen, your primary bathroom, your main living area. What's also going to be a big factor when we're talking about resale is the location. Now, the location that we're in is Georgetown, Texas, but if you're not familiar with the Austin metro area or cities in Texas, it's very dangerous to just make blanket statements about a specific suburb, because this is Texas. These suburbs are huge. So there's different parts of the suburb that we're in that I would recommend. There are different parts of the suburb that I would definitely not recommend, and it really depends on your criteria. And I'll cover that here in a second, but I just want to mention here in Georgetown, Texas, near this community of Nolina, there's a lot of land. This is where there's the future growth of Georgetown, Texas, and it's because this same road south of here, Apple's second headquarters are being built. There's also 2 children's hospital close by to Apple's headquarters that just got completed in early 2024. And so there's a lot of growth with jobs in this area. Now, when I say growth, do I mean high growth like what we had in the pandemic where market's going to go up 40% year over year? No, I'm not saying that. I hope that never happens again. But it is growing. Apple's one of the biggest companies in the world, and they're building their second headquarters, and they're in the middle of a phase right now 22 miles south of this community. And that's why this area is growing, and that's why I would continue to expect it to grow, but it's just starting, right? Nolina in 2024 is just getting started. And so for some of my clients where they want their price to go as far as possible, they want to get as much square footage as they can, they come out to areas like this. But if they're more interested being in a better location and they're willing to pay a little bit more, then they look at homes in areas like this. This is Palmera Ridge, located in Leander, Texas. Now, we'll talk about the location in a second, but I want to focus in on the plan. This is the Kobi plan. It's over 2,600 square feet. It has 4 bedrooms, 3 full bathrooms, and we are backing to privacy. There's actually a elementary school that's a couple years old right behind this home, and so you're going to see some great privacy, some beautiful trees, and we are close to the highway that most people are trying to access, especially a lot of people that are in tech that are commuting south of here or on a hybrid model, or are currently working from home but planning to go to a hybrid model at one of these big tech companies that's located south of here. Now, in terms of pricing, this home just fell out of contract, so they don't have a firm price on it yet. But if I had to speculate, we'd be looking at something under $700,000 for this one-story plan. And like I mentioned earlier, even though it doesn't have those beams in the living room, it does have those vaulted ceilings right here in the dining room that looks out to the backyard. Now, if you're curious on pricing on the last home, it's less expensive just because it's further away from, further out in the Austin metro. It's also less square footage, over 2,100 square feet. And at the time I'm recording this video, there are homes for sale in that plan that we just saw, the Barron plan, under $500,000 in the community of Nolina. But here in Palmera Ridge, you get a little bit more square footage with this Kobi plan and this wide open kitchen. This is what so many of my clients tell me. They love all the cabinets that are in this plan. And when you walk out to this main living area, you got the living room on your left, you have this kitchen with all these cabinets on the right, and then you can see out the windows through the dining area into the backyard. And I think that combination really resonates with a lot of my clients that are looking at one-story plans, that they still want to feel like there's a lot of space. They want tall ceilings, they want a lot of windows, and they want huge kitchen islands like this one. Now, I'm excited to hear from you on what you think about the backyard on this one. It's going to feel a little bit different than the last home that we saw, just because this community is very different from Nolina. It's on the verge of finishing out. There's only a few homes for sale at the time I'm recording this video. They have a last section that's coming up towards the end of 2024, but that section is just going to be like 1 or 2 streets. Those are going to be 70 and possibly 80 foot wide lots. And those are going to tend to be around like $1 million for homes that are at square footages like somewhere between 3,500 square feet and 4,500 square feet. Now, what I just said is speculating because they're literally clearing out at the time I'm recording this video. I'll show you those lots here in a second. So if you're more interested in building from scratch, you have lots like that. But if you're more interested in moving quickly into Leander, you like the idea of being close in proximity to the highway, you have a home like this that has great windows here in the living room. And the buyers for this home put good electrical in this home. So you have electrical up on the wall to hang a TV. You have under cabinet lights in the kitchen. You even have lights that were above the kitchen island that are actually there to hang pendant lights. You don't see those pendant lights because the buyers wanted to put in their own pendant lights after closing, but you need electrical going to that place, and you need blocking too to be able to hang those pendant lights. Same thing for this chandelier. We want something there from the builder, even if you don't desire to have this chandelier. A lot of people do change that after closing. Now, what you can't change is your backyard. And I mean, you could do upgrades back here, but a lot of clients build pools or do pergolas or do really fun things in their backyard. But you can't get trees like this in a lot of cases. If they're not already here, you can plant trees, but a lot of people plant trees that are right up against the fence line. They eventually do grow out. Sometimes it takes like 1.5 years, 2 years to get a little bit of privacy and then really grow in after 3 to 4 years. And there are trees like that. But there aren't trees like this that you can plant and get to grow, above like even a 2-story home. And that's what a lot of my clients tell me they love about homes like this, where they want good space. They want their, if they have kids, they want kids to be able to run around back here, but they don't want trees to just only be in the way, like right in the middle of the yard. And I think for this lot, I think a lot of people would agree the trees are off to the side that make a lot of sense, that give a lot of privacy that people want to have in their backyard. They also want to back up to greenery. You did see a school back there, so there are, kids running around sometimes back there, but it's not like they're right up against the fence line right behind this home. But there is an elementary school right in the neighborhood of Palmera Ridge called Nancy Tarvin Elementary School. Now, while we're here in the primary bedroom, which also has a tray ceiling here, backs up to that backyard, and we'll see the primary bathroom next, I'll just mention Nancy Tarvin Elementary, at the time I'm recording this video, does not have a rating. With that being said, if schools really matter to you, reach out to me. My number's at the bottom of the description of this video. Just text home to that number and I will reach out to you. We can certainly have a chat and I can show you the trends that are happening with schools, because it is very clear once you see the data and the ratings on a map of various schools. And I can zoom with you and show you that, or I can even make a video sharing my screen, showing you what's happening with schools and growth and jobs and communities. There's definitely a strategy of how to get in these different communities, and there's different pros and cons to these communities. So for example, for this community in Leander, Texas, we're very close to a highway called 183A. And why it's really important to be to that close to that highway is for a lot of people that are looking at a future commute down south, maybe even if they're in a hybrid model, like going to a tech company like Apple or Microsoft or Amazon. 183 takes you to very close by to those different employers. And I say tech, but there are also a lot of employers like Visa is a big one in the North Austin area. There's a lot of employment around the Domain area, which is like our second downtown, 10 miles north of downtown Austin. And so areas like this, Palmera Ridge, close by to 183A to get you south, is very important for jobs and the commute to those jobs. But also growth. If you look at developments that are happening around this area, you can look up Leander Northline, Leander Springs. Leander Northline's a big $1 billion development that's currently under construction. Leander Springs is a $1 billion lagoon project that's currently in the planning phase at the time I'm recording this video. And these are great developments that I would say most people want to be around. And that's happening here in the Leander area. Now that's close by to the 183A highway. A lot of development is happening along that highway for obvious reasons. It's close to the jobs and the growth that's happening here in North Austin. And that's why a lot of people desire to be in Leander. But there is one major problem with Leander, and I'm going to talk about that here in a second. I just want to mention that, we were in the primary bedroom and bathroom, which is in the back left of this home. And then in the back right, we have the one room that was missing in that last plan that we saw, the Barron plan. Here in the Kobi plan, you have a game room that has bedrooms on either side. And so if you have kids, you want a kids play area. If you want a second hangout area that's away from the living room, so you have that separate space to just hang out and not feel like you're living on top of each other. Here's a game room where, if you can imagine, like an L-shaped couch here, there's electrical up on a wall there for a TV. This is a great separate hangout area away from the main living area. It's through the dining room to get here. And like I mentioned before, we have bedrooms on either side. We also have a full bathroom that's between these two bedrooms that I'll show you here in a second. Getting back to Leander and what's happening here, the major problem is the lack of residential options compared to where we were pre-pandemic or even during the pandemic. This community of Palmera Ridge had 4 builders actively building in it. Now they're down to 2, and other than that small section that's coming up at the end of the year, there's very limited options here because Leander, and close to the highway in Leander, is closing out with a lot of inventory. Once upon a time, you had Palmera Ridge with 4 builders, this community that we're in. You had Bryson close by that had 4 builders in it. You had Deerbrook that had around 5 builders in it. That was another community in Leander. You had Horizon Lake that had 2 builders, a small pocket community of over 400 homes. You had so many builders and inventory options to choose from that you could just sit back and wait for options to come up. Right now, at the time I'm recording this video, there really isn't an opportunity to sit back because builders are closing out in every community that I just mentioned there. So the con with that is you have limited options. Also, pricing can reflect that lack of supply from builders in this area, but it depends on the opportunity. Actually had a client just switch homes in Leander, and we got a great deal on an inventory home, but that builder was down to 2 homes for sale. They really wanted to get out of the neighborhood because, keep in mind, builders are not worried about maximizing profit out of every home. Sometimes it makes sense to discount a home to move their resources to another community, because having all your resources in one community just to finish out 2 homes does not make any sense. So we actually got a really good deal on one of those homes. With that being said, in Leander, you just don't have that many options. And when there's a lack of supply, you're not going to get the best terms on most of the opportunities that are here. Now, while we look through the utility room, there's a 2-car garage here. There's even a study and a bedroom at the front of the home that we'll take a look at. And like I mentioned earlier, this gets you a little bit more square footage compared to the model home that we saw earlier. And it gets you those 2 rooms that are missing in that last plan. It gets you the 4th bedroom with a study in addition to that, and that game room. And that's a look at the utility room. There is a mud bench here because there is a 2-car garage entrance right behind me. And actually, with that in mind, this is actually a dropped garage. So a dropped garage is needed when the home or the lot that the home is built on is up on a mound. And so they do a drop garage so you don't have a huge cliff that you need to go up to get up your driveway into this garage. And that's why you have like 5 or 6 steps here. Now, the good news about that is you get these very tall ceilings that I want to show you. This is important for storage. A lot of people put storage racks above the garage door, and that can get you a lot of space. The issue is you have steps, which for some people that have their parents staying with them that are elderly, they don't want them going up and down steps. Also, those steps kind of cut into the garage. So we have had I think it was a Honda Civic back in here, and there's room to fit a car in, obviously, but it is pretty tight where once you fit the car in, you can't walk around it next to the steps, if that makes sense, just because those steps cut in. Normally, this would just be an open platform where if your car goes over it a little bit, it's not a big deal because it's just a flat space. But with those steps, it does cut into your garage just a little bit, but you do get that extra storage as a pro. And so as you're seeing here, there are pros and cons to everything. A lot of people say, well, what's the good part about this builder? What's the good part about this community? What's the bad part? Like the question is like, what are the pros and cons, and how strongly do you feel about these pros and cons? Because every community, every builder, every plan has pros and cons. And I want to dive a little bit deeper into that here in a second. I just want to tell you, we're going to look at a bedroom right next to this full bathroom. And outside of it, there is a very mature tree that they just cut some branches down. And I want to know what you think about mature trees on the front of your home. I've had some clients tell me they hate it because it cuts out on the curb appeal. You can't see past that tree to see the home. I've had other people say they absolutely love it and they feel like that's what's missing in a lot of these new build neighborhoods is mature trees. So I want to know what you think about it in the comments below. What I was talking about earlier, diving in a little bit deeper about how people feel about the pros and cons of communities, is I was tagged in a post on a Facebook group about what did people think about Horizon Lake, another community in Leander, compared to this community, Palmera Ridge. And I just politely mentioned in that group that that's a bad question to ask because it depends on the criteria that you have. For example, if you say that you want to build a home around 4,000 square feet, I don't think that other community, Horizon Lake, is a great community to build a 4,000 square foot home because you're the most expensive home in the neighborhood, you're the biggest, and there are no amenities in that neighborhood. They just kind of have a fishing pond. It's a small 400 plus home pocket community. The elementary school's low rated. It's close in proximity to the highway 183, which is really good, as well as that development that I mentioned earlier, Leander North Line. But 4,000 square foot home, in my opinion, does not make sense for that neighborhood. But a starter home that's in the 2,000s for square footage makes a lot more sense for that neighborhood. Because if you're buying a starter home, you want to live in it and then rent it after 3 to 5 years, that community makes a lot of sense. In other words, communities can be good and bad, but it depends on your criteria. And so if you want an unbiased perspective on your best options based on your criteria, text HOME to the number at the bottom of the description of this video, and I'm happy to chat further about your best options. If you want to see another home built by Chesmar, a great 2-story plan, click on the left side of your screen. And as always, hope this helps. Take care, everyone.